Okay, everyone, let's get right into the stock market charts. This channel is all about technical analysis and finding trade ideas. So I'm going to get right into it. If you guys find value in the content, after you're following along for a little while, leave me a thumbs up. I do appreciate that. Okay, we'll start out with the SPY. We're going to go to the daily chart here, and you can see we're basically flat today. No real change from yesterday. We just continue to kind of grind higher. Markets in general are just grinding higher, making small gains every day. But those, each and every one of these new highs that we keep making over the last few days are divergent highs, and that has not changed. There still is negative divergence. So here's the S&P 500. You can see I kind of have it circled right here. We basically are making lower highs in momentum on the RSI and the PPO, and we're making higher highs in price. All right. So if you just follow price, then all you see is higher highs, but these momentum indicators are giving us an idea that we're likely going to see a reversal. Now, until we see it, then I think we'll likely just continue to kind of grind higher. But that reversal is likely coming, and that's what these momentum indicators are telling us. A lot of people are asking me why I don't just go long and then just short the market when you get that reversal. Well, typically the reversal doesn't. It's not usually something that just shows up and says, okay, time to get out of the market, everybody. Usually you trap longs in, all right? That's how it usually works. So people that are getting long or, staying long when you have big negative divergence, oftentimes they'll continue to gain as the market grinds higher. There will be gains. But then when that reversal comes, it's usually pretty impulsive and can happen kind of out of the blue. Maybe you wake up to a big gap down, and all of a sudden you're kind of trapped long potentially. So I don't like to be long the market when there's negative divergence. I look more for the short opportunity, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. But again, day in and day out, we grind higher. So I continue day in and day out to look for that opportunity for the sell signal until that shows up. That's really all I'm interested in. On the Qs, the Qs really, we've got this bearish rising wedge. Let's look at the hourly chart. And here's this bearish rising wedge. This is going back to May 17th. And we've just been grinding higher within that wedge. So we hit the top of the wedge. We sell off. We run down to the bottom. That's where the buyers are stepping in. There's no technical breakdown of this pattern. So we're just continuing within that wedge. But if you look at the daily, we have big negative divergence that's been building for quite some time. Each new divergent high has been met with a correction, basically. So we got a correction up here, small correction here, there was a correction here, and this is a divergent high too. So looking for a correction, and then I'm not looking for necessarily a crash, but we'll start out with a correction, and then once we get that correction, if we get that correction, a correction will come for sure. A correction will come. That's pretty much guaranteed. We just don't know from what price point. But when we get that correction, we'll look for signs that the correction's over. Whether that's bullish divergence starting to show up, that's usually the indication that the correction's over or going to be over soon. But right now, with this new high, with negative divergence, see the PPO and the RSI trending down, we're looking for that correction. Okay, so I'm not really interested in being long when it looks like a correction's going to happen soon. But again, until we see a break of this bearish rising wedge, going back to the hourly chart, I just need to see a breakdown of this trend line right here, an hourly close below. And until I see that, not interested in shorting triple Qs. Okay, let's cover some of these trade ideas, these individual trade ideas that are working. Some are working, and others aren't. A lot of these trade ideas are either going sideways or are actually downtrending. So here's Toll Brothers. You can see here our sell signal was right there. We did two back tests. There's one and there's two. And we've been downtrending ever since, down another 3% today. Clear downtrend at this point. It's pretty obvious. You go up, you're down, you rally a little bit, you go down. And that's how downtrends work. They rally, they go down. And then as you continue to downtrend, the selling often increases intensity and it becomes more impulsive and sharper. So we're starting, continuing down, making a new low today. Heading down to, about 50.40 I see as the next level of support. Some good support down there. So far, this trade idea, even if you took it at the close right here on the sell signal, you're profitable by about 8.5%. and continuing to work its way lower. So that one looks good. It looks for continued downside. All right, SeaWorld Seas, you can see down 3% today, just kind of chopping around, but it looks like it's continuing the downtrend. Looks like we're going to break to the downside. I would look for a break of, well, probably the most recent lows right here at 46. And if we break that, there's a gap to fill right there at 43. So a break of 46 probably brings us down to 43. We break below 43, I think we're heading straight down to 35.75. That's really good support down there. So still looks good. Looks like we're continuing down. Whether we grind around a little more or just head down from here, it's unknown. But over time, looks like we're going to head lower. This one, LPX, Louisiana Pacific. The sell signal was back here, and we've really gone nowhere since the sell signal. You can see we basically have just gone sideways right in here. So we need to see a break of the lows, probably the most recent lows, but down here at about 55.07. A break of that brings us down to 49, about 49.30, and then a break of that we get down to 34. This is my target for this one down here at 34. You can see we held, that was major resistance back here, and then we held support when we broke above. So looking for a move down to 34 over time. Not going to happen all at once. It's likely going to take weeks to months. So I'll just continue to cover it as it continues to work. Otherwise, we'll look to stop out if it doesn't work anymore. But right now, technically, still looks good. Looks like we're going down, down 4.5% today. So just chopping around, basically. We're just moving up over a few days, and then one day wipes out all those gains. You can see today is pretty much wiping out 4 days worth of gains being wiped out just today. So that's the nature of the downside. Usually it comes fast. We'll grind up 4 days, and then one day we'll wipe out all those gains. Okay, so most of these shorts that I've talked about, here's EMR. It just continues. They continue to look technically like they're going to sell off. So no change from yesterday, really. I see Ally looks like it's going down. ANF looks like it's going lower. BYD lower. CAR lower. Here's CAR. Just kind of, we're basically where we're at from yesterday. John Deere looks like it's, consolidating and heading lower. So that's really the point. A lot of these shorts still look good. Let's flip over to gold. So gold bullion's just really been treading water the last couple days, really grinding around sideways. If I show you the hourly chart, you can see we've just gone sideways for about a week or so. The miners are rallying today. So here's HMY. This one's up 7%. I've talked about this one being a good area of support with bullish divergence. So far, it looks we're starting to reverse trend. So the bullish divergence on this, if I show you here on the hourly, you'll see right here we started to put in bullish momentum. See how the RSI and the PPO started to move up right there on the hourly, and yet price was still making new lower lows. This is all bullish divergence price action right here. Price is grinding lower, momentum's moving higher. That tells you that you're likely going to get a reversal in trend, and going to the daily chart, you wait for the break of the downtrend. So here's a daily downtrend right there. And we broke right here, gapped up, and we really have just been chopping around sideways, but today making a new higher high. So it looks like the uptrend started. You can see we're new higher high here. So I think we're likely, starting a new uptrend. And this thing's up, about 7% today. It's at resistance right now. This is resistance, which is about 407. So maybe we get a little pullback tomorrow on this. But again, still looks like we're building the next leg higher. So I like this one. Some of these other miners continue to, move higher. All the miners are doing well today. Agnico Eagle kind of bouncing off this trend line support. So here's your downtrend line in AEM. And we put in bullish divergence, started to build some bullish divergence, especially on the hourly chart. But really the bullish divergence was back here. We broke to the upside of this downtrend line. So there's your downtrend line. There's your breakout right here. Came in for a back test. So that's what I'm viewing this as a back test of support. We're likely going to hold this area, bounce off of this, and start to move higher. Gap fill right up here is a very solid target, I think, for the short term, 68.34. That's a very logical target. likely going to get some sort of a reaction where we'll sell down from there. But I think we're likely going to run up in gap fill. From where we're at now, that's a move of at least 10% up, and I think that's very likely at this point. Flip over to ag commodities. So last week I was buying wheat, but you can see here corn bouncing off its trend line support. So here is the bottom of the trend line on the daily chart going back to August of 2020. You can see we held support through here, basically held through there, held support through here, and we came down and hit that support just a couple days ago, and we're bouncing off of that. So that's a bounce off support so far of about 5%. Wheat really looks the same. So here's the uptrend line on wheat on the daily chart. Bounce off support here, bounce off support here, and again, bounce off support here. So again, we are continuing to hold that uptrend line in some of these grains, the ag commodities. Coffee selling off a little bit today. I'm still looking for coffee to get down to this 40.68 kind of buy zone. A pullback to there should be major support, and I would look for bullish divergence to start to show up as we pull back into that zone if we're going to get that pullback down there. So I'll cover that if that shows up. But the ag commodities are bouncing off support and continuing that uptrend line, which likely will continue to put inflationary pressures. I saw some inflationary CPI reading came out today pretty hot, hotter than expected. So inflation is still there, and that is likely going to put some pressure on the Fed to at least tell us what they're going to do, whether they're going to let inflation continue to run or whether they're going to tighten rates. So far, they've made no indication, at least in their actions, that they're going to raise rates. And so, we got to look at that and see what's happening. But likely gold's going to catch on. The miners are going to catch on if the Fed, doesn't take action on rates anytime soon. Then those miners should continue to run, and they should run pretty good. So we're going to continue to watch those, and I don't have a whole lot else. I'm watching this AEO for a trade idea. This is American Eagle. Again, this is we have a clean uptrend line here on the daily. We had a divergent high right here, so see the negative divergence building. Divergent high. I'm looking for a break of this trend line support, and so whenever we get it, I don't know when we're going to get it, but I'm watching for that one. And if we do, first level of support I see right there at about 30.70, and then we have another level of support at 26.03. Both of those I think are viable targets, and so we're going to watch that. Depending on when or if we get the break of that trend line support, I'll point it out if it shows up. That's all I got so far, guys. So leave me a thumbs up on your way out. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye.